It is a humid September morning in 1793, and a procession of men in white leather aprons moves through the muddy clearing that will become the United States Capitol. At their head walks George Washington, himself a Freemason of the Alexandria Lodge No. 22. In his hands he carries a silver trowel, engraved for the occasion, and a marble gavel once used by the architect of Mount Vernon. The cornerstone he lays that day has never been found. The city rising around him is no ordinary capital. Its avenues, its monuments, and its very street grid have been shaped by men steeped in the symbolism of the Enlightenment, of classical antiquity, and of the Masonic craft. For more than 2 centuries, visitors have wandered these boulevards without ever noticing the hidden geometries beneath their feet. This is the story of the symbols concealed in plain sight across Washington, D.C. The city's designer was Pierre Charles L'Enfant, a French-born engineer who had served under Washington at Valley Forge. In 1791, he laid out a plan of grand diagonal avenues cutting across a rigid grid, radiating from 2 ceremonial hubs, the Capitol and the President's House. His inspiration was Versailles, but his geometry borrowed from something older. Circles, triangles, and pentagrams would emerge from the intersections of his streets. Conspiracy theorists have long claimed that L'Enfant's plan traces a pentagram above the White House. Trace the avenues from DuPont Circle, Logan Circle, Mount Vernon Square, and Washington Circle, and a rough 5-pointed star does appear on the map. Historians note that the southern point is incomplete, broken by the diagonal of Rhode Island Avenue. Whether the shape is deliberate or coincidental has been debated ever since Robert Hieronymus first popularized the claim in the 1970s. The most famous symbol in the Capitol hovers, unseen by most, on the back of every dollar bill. It is the reverse of the Great Seal of the United States, adopted by Congress on the 20th of June, 1782. A truncated pyramid of 13 courses rises beneath a radiant eye enclosed in a triangle. Above it curls the Latin motto Annuit Coeptes, he has favored our undertakings. The eye is often called the Eye of Providence, and its Masonic associations are unmistakable, though its origins are older still. Renaissance painters used it to signify the all-seeing gaze of God. The designer of the reverse, Charles Thompson, drew on iconography familiar to any educated 18th century gentleman. Below the pyramid runs another Latin phrase, Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order of the ages. That phrase, borrowed from the Roman poet Virgil, has fueled 2 centuries of speculation. To Freemasons and Rosicrucians, it seemed to promise a rational republic rising from the ruins of monarchy. To later conspiracists, it hinted at something darker, a hidden hand guiding the young nation. In 1935, Vice President Henry Wallace, himself a mystic and theosophist, persuaded Franklin Roosevelt to place the seal on the dollar bill. Inside the Capitol Dome, another mystery gazes down upon the rotunda. It is a fresco called The Apotheosis of Washington, painted in 1865 by the Italian artist Costantino Brumidi. Suspended 180 feet above the marble floor, it depicts the first president ascending into the heavens, flanked by 13 maidens and by pagan gods. Minerva instructs Benjamin Franklin, Neptune lays a transatlantic cable, and Mercury hands a bag of gold to Robert Morris. The choice to enthrone a mortal man among Roman deities was startling even in 1865. Brumidi worked from a scaffold suspended beneath the newly completed cast-iron dome, his brush laden with lime plaster. The figure of Washington sits upon a rainbow, a rod in one hand and a sword in the other. To contemporaries steeped in classical education, the scene was allegory. To later generations, it looked like something closer to religious deification. Beneath the rotunda lies a chamber the public rarely sees, the crypt. It was designed in 1827 to hold the remains of George Washington in a tomb directly below the dome. Washington's family refused to move the body from Mount Vernon, and the chamber stands empty to this day. In its center, a compass star of black marble marks the geographic point from which all Washington streets are numbered. Above ground, the Washington Monument itself is a symbol as ancient as civilization. Completed in 1884 after nearly 4 decades of construction, it stands 555 feet tall, the tallest structure in the world at the time. Egyptian obelisks from which its form derives were dedicated to the sun god Ra. The monument's aluminium capstone, weighing 100 ounces, is inscribed on its eastern face with the words Laus Deo, praise be to God. The cornerstone of the monument was laid on the 4th of July, 1848, in an elaborate Masonic ceremony. Grand Master Benjamin French wore the same apron that George Washington had worn at the Capitol cornerstone 55 years earlier. Marching alongside him was a young congressman from Illinois named Abraham Lincoln. Inside the cornerstone rests a zinc box containing coins, newspapers, and a Bible, a time capsule for a republic still uncertain of its future. Not far from the monument stands a temple that few tourists ever enter. The House of the Temple, headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, rises above 16th Street like a stone offering to antiquity. Its architect, John Russell Pope, modelled it on the mausoleum of Halicarnassus, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. 2 sphinxes flank its entrance, one representing wisdom, the other power. Inside, 33 columns encircle the central chamber, one for each degree of the Scottish Rite. The number 33 recurs throughout the capital, 33 blocks from the Capitol to the House of the Temple, 33 years of Christ's earthly life, 33 vertebrae in the human spine. To initiates, such correspondences are not coincidence but confirmation. To skeptics, they are the pattern-hunting instincts of the human mind writ large. Elsewhere in the city, the symbols are subtler still. The bronze doors of the Library of Congress feature the winged staff of Hermes, patron of thieves, travelers, and writers. The Federal Reserve Building bears an eagle clutching a key, said to represent monetary secrecy. The Department of Justice sports twin statues, Contemplation and Authority, whose bare-breasted forms scandalized Attorney General John Ashcroft in 2002. Every facade, it seems, carries its own coded vocabulary. Perhaps the strangest cipher of all sits outside the headquarters of the Central Intelligence Agency in Langley, Virginia. Installed in 1990, the sculpture Cryptos by artist Jim Sanborn contains 4 encrypted messages carved into copper plates. 3 have been solved, revealing cryptic phrases about buried secrets and invisible layers. The 4th, 97 characters long, has resisted every codebreaker for more than 3 decades. Sanborn has released 3 clues over the years, the words Berlin, clock, and northeast. Even the National Security Agency, working in secret, has failed to crack the final passage. Sanborn himself is now in his late 70s, and he has quietly designated a trustee to verify the solution after his death. The final message may outlive its author, a modern hieroglyph awaiting its Rosetta Stone. For every genuine symbol, the Capitol has attracted a shadow of invention. Dan Brown's 2009 novel The Lost Symbol drew millions of readers on tour of Masonic Washington, hunting for pyramids and hidden vaults. Tour guides now point out patterns that generations of architects never intended. The city has become a Rorschach test, revealing as much about the searcher as about the stones themselves. Yet the deliberate symbols remain, patient and unmoving. They speak of a founding generation that believed architecture could shape a civic soul, that geometry could enshrine virtue, that a young nation needed the gravity of ancient forms. Washington and Jefferson, Franklin and L'Enfant built not merely a capital but a text, one written in marble, bronze, and starlight. Its readers are still learning its alphabet. It is a humid September evening now, more than 2 centuries after Washington laid his lost cornerstone. Tourists cross the National Mall in the fading light, unaware of the pentagram beneath their feet or the eye that watches from their pockets. The city keeps its secrets, whispering them only to those who learn to look. In Washington, as the Latin motto promises, a new order of the ages is always still beginning.